Hey, Debbie here from Read Art. How are you today? Thought I'd just pop on today and do the Easter Bunny painting that I showed last night. So here it is. Actually, it looks a little bit dark, but I'll bring it up closer. Here's the watercolor version. And today what we're going to do is we're going to change that into the acrylic version. So what I've got in front of me is sorry, I'm just looking at the screen because it looks like I'm freezing again. And I thought I fixed that issue after last time, but obviously not. So what I've got in front of me today is my canvas already drawn up. Now, anyone who comments today, I have a free tracer for you. So at the end of the broadcast today, I will send that tracer through to you. I've got it in digital form. Had to freehand it this morning because as it turns out, I'm out of ink, which is a bit of a pain, but I'm going to start painting straight away, and we're going to start blocking in the background here with the light green. So I'm just going around the flowers, going around the carrots, and I've just got a flat brush here. Let me know when you come on that you're here. Tell me where you're from, where you're watching from. That would be great. And it's 9:30 a.m. Sunday morning here at the moment. And I know last night when I was talking to some of my American friends over overseas there, that I got a little bit confused with their time conversion. So hopefully we've got it right. And if I'm okay with the time zone calculations, should be about around 7:30 on a Saturday night over in the USA, and like I said, 9:30 a.m. in Brisbane here. Well, actually, I'm in Gold Coast, but I think when you're looking up time zones, you have to look up the capital cities. So we've got the green grass background going on, and I do the background first because I want to get all that blocked in before I start adding the details to the foreground. So I'm just going to take my time here, get my green on for my grass, and then I'm going to add some detail to that grass a bit later. I don't know about you, but whenever I'm painting, I have 2 cups of water, or I do if I remember. And I do that because by the end of the painting, my water is always really dirty. And so having a second cup just allows for me to dip it in the clean water after I have washed it. Now you'll see that I've got a darker green happening here. I'm not too concerned about the greens because I just want to blend them at the moment. So dark green, light green, doesn't matter. And that's why I've even got the greens in the same little section here, because I knew I was just going to blend them and have different greens. Now you'll probably notice that I'm going over the flowers. That doesn't matter, because you will have a tracer, or you can just eyeball it and put the flowers back in. What date is it today? The 21st. So we've got about 2 weeks left until Easter. I'm actually surprised because usually by now the supermarkets have all their Easter things out. And yesterday when I was at the shops, I did notice some Easter things, but not nearly as much as previous years. So I was kind of wondering what was going on there. And then that made me think yesterday, what's going on? Is it Easter or not? And then lucky I've got one of my sons and my two little beautiful granddaughters and my son's girlfriend, and they're all coming down in 2 weeks to visit for Easter. So I'm so excited about that because they live 8 hours away. And my youngest son, he also lives 8 hours away in the opposite direction. So Alan and I are like smack bang right in the middle of them. And it's always great when everyone can get together. Okay, so I've put my green on. I'm not too worried about the details around the flowers. And at the end here, when this green dries, I'm going to add some more detail and lighten different sections up and darken different sections anyways. So I'm just blocking it in at the moment. So remember, if you're just tapping on, this is the picture that we're painting, and this is a watercolor version that I did last night, and we're just changing it now to a paint party or a paint kit version in the acrylics. Remember, if you do want a stencil or a tracer of this, quite happy to give that to you. You can use it in your paint kits, you can use it for paint parties, whatever you want to do, or just for yourself at home. So the tracer will be black and white, and if you just put your name down, if you just put a comment down on the comment section there at the end when I've finished painting this, I'll just pop on and I'll send you a message with the tracer attached. So now I'm just looking at these carrots, blocking in the carrots again. I'm not worrying about any details at this stage. I'm just getting the basic block sections on, because the details are going to go on once the paint's dry. All right, so I've got my carrots on there, up to the mountain sort of area in the back. Now I was tossing up whether to do this green, yellow or purple last night, but after I did my mock-up version on my watercolor, because this is how, when I'm designing my pictures, it's easy to do a mock-up version by just drawing it in with lead pencil. And I just have I do all my things in my journal here, so I've got like lots of different sort of things happening in there. But here you might have seen my very cute painting challenge that's coming up. Now this is my design. I haven't done the watercolor version for this, but this is the design that I decided to use for that challenge, and that challenge is on our website. On our Facebook page. It's called Very Cute Painting Challenge, and it's a 2-day challenge for 10 Australian dollars, which works out only to be about, I don't know, $8.50 US, maybe not even that. And on that painting challenge, we're going to have my husband, Alan, who is a fantastic artist and painter. He is going to do a really cute panda painting. And I am going to do, on the following night, that teddy bear painting. I wonder if he's painting. Alan, can you bring me your panda painting?
What?
Your panda painting?
Panda painting.
Yeah. I just get Al to bring in the panda painting so you can see what it looks like, because you might be interested in doing it. It's really, really super cute. Okay, so I've got my mountain in, or my hill, should I say, and it's just started raining. Again, it's been raining all night. It's like crazy at the moment. So I'm sitting in our home studio here, and I've got the garage door up because our studio is in our garage. I've got the garage door up, and it's beautiful just sitting here watching the rain. Okay, so thank you. So this is the really cute panda painting. Oh, there it is. That Alan will teach on the first night, which is on the 28th of this month, I believe. And then I'm going to teach the teddy bear paint is the following night, the 29th, I think. Anyway, no. Okay, so now I'm going to get the sky blocked in. I don't know why I picked up this paintbrush. It's probably not the best one for how much I've got to paint. I'd usually like a thicker one, but this will do for now. And I'm going to add a bit of white to that just to lighten that sky up. So usually I do my sky blue, but I've got turquoise, so that will be fine for this. And like the rest of them, just blocking it in. And I'm just leaving white canvas here for the clouds because I'm going to have my white clouds. Now, I'm just going to try and check. I've got so many screens here. It's a bit confusing, but I'm going to try and check if I've got comments because this is still quite new to me, going on and doing a live. Alan's done a lot of the lives so far for our group. And I'm just trying to work out where I see the comments. So let me just have a look over here. Hi, Emma. Hi, Alana. Hi, Shailene. Alana, thank you for joining me. If I missed you, I'm sorry, but I think if I try and look for the comments at the moment, I might not be able to get back on track and I may press something and never be able to find you again. Okay. Okay, so I've got my background blocked in. And at this stage, I'm also going to do my white background. Now, you might think, oh, okay, well, how am I going to see the design on the rabbit if I block that in? The thing is, you're going to have your tracer with you, and the details on the bunny are pretty minimal. So it should be okay. Let me just get this cloud done because I've just fluffed something up here. Okay. Just want this a bit more rounded here. That's going to be in the background, my carrot stems and going up. And I just need to add my greens, and I'm going to go with the darker green for the details, sorry, the block sections for the carrot. Dark green, light green. Getting this blocked in now because if I do it later, I'm not going to have enough time for the paint to dry to add the detail. So if you get your background sections in first, that will give you time. And Alan's just popped in to say hello.
Oh, hello. Hello.
So this is Alan. Alan did the panda painting, and he'll be showing you that on the 28th if you decide that you want to be part of the very cute bear challenge. Okay. And And I just missed a bit of sky up here, so I'm going to get that in as well. All right, so you would have noticed that I'm not getting particular with any of the colors so far. At the moment, it's just getting them on there. And then I'm going to go straight to my whites. Now, some people don't worry about painting white if you've got a white canvas, but I think it doesn't really look finished if you don't. So I always just paint the white section with my white paint, just for that more finished look. Now, if you're doing this at home, make sure you leave time for your background to dry, because you may see as I'm doing this that some of the paint, if it's still wet from the background, is basically going to come in and start smudging. And if you want your bunny to stay white, you're going to have to just make sure it's all dry. Now, one way, if I'm painting by myself at home without any cameras on me, usually what I'll do is grab the hairdryer and just give it a quick burst of heat with the hairdryer, and then I'm good to go. I don't have to wait for my backgrounds to actually dry at all, because it doesn't take long at all with the hairdryer. Okay, so I'm getting a bit more sorry, I'm trying to focus. I'm getting slower with my painting here, because now I want to make the definition between the background and the foreground. So if I just slap the colors on my foreground, it's just going to look like a mess. So you take a little bit more time doing your foreground. Make sure your paint's where you want it. My brush is a little bit big at the moment for the area that I'm doing. But I'm going to come back in with a smaller brush shortly. So my white's done on my rabbit. I'm going to actually change my brush now, because this section is a little smaller and the paint is still very wet. So basically what I'm going to do here is be really careful and just try and get the edges without actually touching any of this green here, or else I'm going to end up with light green clouds, and that's not a look I'm going for. Thanks for commenting. I really appreciate that. It's actually really hard to paint, talk, look at comments, and actually reply to comments. So I love seeing the comments on there, and I think it's just going to be a little bit more practice to be able to do all those things at one time and do it smoothly and look like I know what I'm doing. Okay, so in between the stems of, sorry, not the stems, in between the sections of carrot, I'm just going to put a bit of white to show my cloud through, and I'm not really sure why I did it on this one over here, because the background's yellow, so I'm just going to fill that in with the yellow paint. Now, one thing I did want to say to you, you might have noticed on my painting here that I've used lead pencil to draw it on, or I've used the carbon paper to draw it on. The thing with that is, if you're using your light colors, it's going to come straight through onto your canvas. So you can see here, the heel's still showing up with the lead coming through. The only way I can get rid of that if I don't want it there, is to get my white paint, go over it with white paint where the carbon lines are from your carbon paper stencil, or your lead pencil, and then come back, and at the end, when the white's dry, then go back over it with the yellow, and then that line will disappear. All right, so now we're up to the basket here. Let's get the basket blocked in. So as you can see, like the first, I don't know, half hour or so is just blocking your colors in, blocking your backgrounds, so you've got a base to actually go over and add details to. And other people might do it different ways, but this is how I've always done my paintings. It's really humid here. Like, even though it's raining and I've got the door up and everything, it's still really humid, and you might see I'm sweating, which is crazy when it's raining. Actually, down northern New South Wales, where my youngest son lives, they've got crazy rain at the moment. Like, he sent me a message the other night, and he's basically got a flood of water going through the bottom of his house from the amount of rain that's come through in that area. Okay, so just going to put some basket lines on here, not too many. Again, my paint is still wet, so I'm only going for just something, so when I add my details, it's just going to give me a bit of textured look. Rightio, I think that's, no, that's still wet. I've got everything down now for my back texture. So that's taken me about 20 minutes. And I am doing this on an A4 canvas, which is probably close to, I don't know, it's 29 by 21 centimeters. I guess it's probably a little bit bigger than an 8 by 10. And that's taken 20 minutes just to get the background done. So that'll give you an indication of, if you are doing this with people, how long you might need. And don't forget, you'll be talking and doing things, so you might need a little bit of extra time. All right, so what I'm going to do now is start adding my foreground stuff. A lot of my background is dry enough to start blocking things in. So I'm going to start, actually, I haven't done my Easter eggs yet. Do my Easter eggs first. So actually, I'm just got my watercolor there, and I'm just going to refer to those colors to get the rest of him done. I might just put that right next to me. I've changed my brush to a smaller round brush now, because the smaller round brush is much better for adding detail. So from now on, most of the brushes I use will be a number 4 or 6 round brush, or a liner brush. And the liner brush is just for like the finer detail. So it's something like, where are you? Let me bring it over the white so you can see. So here are the 2 size brushes that I'll be using for the foreground. Most of the time. That may change. Okay, so I'm just putting on his little bunny feet at the moment. This will darken as it dries, so it looks really light now, but acrylic paint always darkens up as the drying process takes hold. Again, you want to try and cover that carbon or the lead. So I've got my pink feet up here. I've got my pink ears. And this is just a matter of having a light touch at the top and then pushing the brush down to get the wider one stroke motion happening. Now I've also put little pink cheeks on him. So I'm just going to do a circle here and a circle here. And let that dry. Not getting too fussy with where the circles go. And if I need to, I can just get some white and blend that in a little bit later. All right, so I do want to lighten up my carrots. My carrots are one of the first things that I did. So they're ready for me to go over and add some definition to it. So I've got my yellow paint, my orange paint, and I'm going to grab some of that white. White is always your friend with acrylics because like I just said, what you put down as it dries, it gets darker. So I always put my straight colors on to begin with to block it in, and then I'll go back with some white added to the color, and then I will add my details in then, or decide to go right over the carrot. So I need to work out, okay, where's my light going to come from? And that's where I want to lighten up. That's the edge that I want to lighten up when I'm painting. So I'm going to say my light's coming from this direction here. And so all my carrots are going to have a bit more of a light color on this side than the other side. And then you can even get your brush and just do a sort of like a little archy, just get my liner brush, a little arc to show that the carrot is actually going in a circular motion. So we want the top up here, and then we're going to have our little bits coming through like it's going in a circle. And you can get a darker color on the other side if you want and start bringing that in, and I'll do that a bit later when this is dry. So get my orange and white. Again, on this side, I'm going to do the lighter color, and then I'm just going to add my details so it looks like the carrot is going around. And you would have noticed on this one, when I painted it in, it was just a line, like a straight line down. And then when I added my curves to it, I sort of got rid of that line so you couldn't see that line anymore, because it just, it didn't add anything to it. It just took away. So you're always just assessing what you're doing and changing it. You could come back like 5 times and change something if you don't like it. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. Okay, so while I've got the paint wet on my carrots, I'm going to get my round brush again. I'm going to get a darker orange. And I could even add a touch of brown into the orange. And now I want to start making sure that my carrot is exactly how I want it to look, because I don't want to have to go back over the carrots again. So I'm just giving one side a darker side and that's with the orange and a little bit of brown, and my middle will be mostly straight orange, and then the other side is going to be a darker orange. And if you like, you can just get your brush and blend that dark with the light just to give it a smoother look, which is what I've just done now while the paint's still wet. And you don't need much of this darker color because you're really only just doing a line down the edge here. And then when you're blending, I like using basically a dry sort of technique. So I don't put any water on my paint. I just bring my brush over. You can do this with a flat brush. I'm doing it with a round brush, but it is better if you do it with a flat brush. Actually, I'll get my flat brush and show you. I just wasn't going to do the flat brush because I know my flat brush is wet at the moment. And when I'm doing a dry blend, I just want to bring it together like that. Okay, I'm not really happy with the look at this one, so I'm going to add a bit more of the light color on this side. Then I'm going to come over here with the darker color on the opposite side of my brush and blend that together as well. And if I wanted to, I could get a bit more of the regular orange color in there and give that a blend down the middle too, so the orange stands out a bit more. And this is just with the dry brush. Okay, so I'm happy with those carrots now. The tops are still wet, so I'm just going to leave those for a little while, and I'll come down and focus on my basket down here. So I don't want a flat brush for this one. I just want a fine liner brush. Still a little bit wet, but for what we're doing here, it should be like I said, if you're at home though, get the hairdryer out and just give it a quick whack with the hairdryer. Get some heat on it. Okay, so I'm going to alternate to do my basket with some fine white lines. Now remember, I've already got a little bit of detail on the background here. So when I blocked in my browns, I put in some white as well because I knew I'd be coming back over this when it dried. And basically all I'm doing for this is I just want my lines to go straight down because I'm going to try and get a woven effect on this. And then basically in a semicircle. Now, I'm not going to go all the way from left to right. I'm going to leave a space and then pick it up on this side. So I've stopped and started just wherever I thought. There's no real method to this. It's just wherever you think would look good. And I'm going to outline it with a white here down the bottom, but I'm probably going to put grass over that anyway, so that won't even matter. Now, while I've got my whites and yellow here and my liner brush, I'm going to change to a bigger round brush. So I've got a number 4 round brush now. And I'm just going to dip that in my yellows and basically dip it in and actually change my mind. I'm going to do it with the white first. And the reason I'm going to do it with the white instead of straight out with the yellow is because I used the lead pencil and the carbon, or you would probably use the carbon to put these flowers in. And if you did that, if you don't use white first, your lead's going to come through, and you don't want a flower that you can see the drawn section through your paint. So if I block it in first with white and then go over it with my yellow, which is the color that I actually want for my flowers, you're not going to see the lead. And the flowers, as you can see, it's just dabbing it into the white paint and just pushing your paintbrush down 5 times onto your page. Easiest things ever. And they don't have to be perfect looking. You just press 5 times in a star sort of design, and then I'll go back over those with the color that I actually want them to be, or else I'll just leave them white. We'll see how we go at the end. In my watercolor picture though, I did them yellow. And usually I do like to have sets of 3 flowers for some reason. I don't know why, it's just something that I've always thought looked nice. So I will do 3 little flowers, even though on the tracer I think I only did not 3 for everything. Okay, so they're on in the background there. Remember when I said I could see the lead on my hill and I painted it white? Now I'm just going to get my yellow and go over that, and look, no more lead. The lead's gone, so the carbon won't show through either. Now that the white paint's dry, oh, what did I just do? Now that my white paint's dry, I can take my lighter colors and go over the white paint and nothing's going to show through. A lot of people have the same problem when they're using reds. Red paint is very transparent, and so if you paint your background white first and let it dry, don't do it if it's not dry, because you'll end up with pink. But if you paint your background first with white, you'll get those lovely red colors that you're after without having to worry about why you can still see through. Okay, so let's move on to the eggs. So this egg, I'll just do an orange and a purple. And remember, because the eggs are going around, I don't want a straight line. I want it to bend a little bit to show that it is a round egg. So I'll do that orange and purple, I think. Actually, I had an egg over here as well, so I might just paint that in. Doesn't matter what color, because this will be the background color. And I'm going to put a pattern on it anyway, so. And I think there was another little egg down here somewhere, and also one over here. Might put 2 over here. I think that was it. Rightio. So now we're still waiting for those flowers to dry. Just take some of that paint off with my finger. And I'll go on to the next egg here, and we'll do this one with a pink color. Dark pink. Now, if you're in Australia and you want to paint this, we have all the paints on our website now. So we actually sell the paints for our paint kits and paint classes now, which is really exciting for us. And they are on our website under supplies, and we'll be adding more and more supplies as we go. But that's a new thing for us, so we're pretty excited to have that that available to everyone. And I think the 75 ml tube of acrylic paint works out to be about $6.95, which is pretty good considering when you go to some of the bigger stores, you're looking at, well, between the $6 mark, I suppose, and all the way up to about $14 or more for the same size paint. Okay, so I'm just getting in these Easter eggs, and I'm going to change to my liner brush when they're dry. And then I'll come back in with, oops, touched it with a bit of blue, but that's okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is come back to the rabbit. I'm going to leave the Easter basket to dry, come to the rabbit, and I'm going to start blocking in his bow tie. So I've just got a pale blue for that. Again, just blocking it in, not getting too fussy. Because every time I say blocking it in, it means I'm going to come back to it with a finer brush after the paint's dry. And that's just what I mean by blocking in each time. So blocking in just shows me where I need to be working shortly when it's dry. Okay, so I've got his big bow tie there, and we're going to give him some pants. So I'm going to come down under his arm over here, and all this section right up until his foot, I'm going to paint blue. Same on the other side here. Because above this area is his arm. And you can't see it at the moment because I've painted over it, but I've got my picture here that I refer to if I need it. See the blue section down there for his pants? Okay, so I've got my liner brush now because I'm getting closer to edges and I don't want to wreck things that I've already painted. So I'm going to use my liner brush, bring it all the way around to where his feet go, and paint it right to the grassed area. Now his feet are going in a round sort of circle, so my blue needs to follow that around. And he's holding his egg. So we're going to paint that as well. And I'm going to stick to the liner brush just to make it easier. Might do that one purple as well. Give it a purple background. Now when I'm painting this, I just need to be careful that I don't paint his fingers. So I'm just going to be going around where I think his fingers might be. Give him 3 little finger paws on that side, and I'm going to do the same with this side. Where might he be holding this egg? 1, 2, 3, and then I need to watch out where his feet are going as well. So I'm going to do the bottom of the egg. His feet are in front, so they need to factor in there. Then I'm going to block in my egg here. And wait for that to dry so I can add my pattern to that. The only thing I've got to do here for the blocked in section now is his pants in that middle section, because I didn't do that until I got my egg painted in. So that's just going to be between his feet. And it's not even going to go all the way down, it's just going to go there. Rightio. We're getting there. How long have we been on? About 47 minutes, which isn't too bad. We're going pretty well. So next thing I'm going to do is, I forgot to get black. I'll get that in a minute. Just seeing what's dry. There's a lot of things still wet here, so just let me hand fan. I'll try and get some of this a little bit drier so it's not going to start blending in all together. And while I'm doing that, I will tell you about something else that we're doing with Read Art. So I did mention earlier the Very Cute Challenge, and that is on the 28th and 29th this month, and I will be painting, here it is, this cute little teddy, and showing you how to do that in our painting challenge. And Alan will be painting his Panda Playtime. If you're interested in that, you can sign up to that on our Facebook page. There's a link. And also, we have a Create Your Way to Happiness group, membership subscription group. And that is something brand new. A brand new thing that we wanted to start because things happen, and we found the quickest way to get your life back in order is through painting and creating. And so we put together a membership group called Create Your Way to Happiness, which each month we're going to put 4 new pictures of our designs in the membership. We're going to have a community. We're going to be teaching you step by step how to do those 4 paintings. You don't have to do 4, you could do 1, but each month will be 4 brand new paintings. So whenever you join, you'll have access to all the previous paintings as well, and be able to go through and use as many as you want for home or anything like that. But let's just get back to this here. we're going to add some detail here. This one I'm just going to do spots. So yeah, if you're interested in having access to that membership, the link is on our Facebook page. It's called Create Your Way to Happiness. Because it's a brand new group, we do have a founding member special, and that will be $19.97 a month. So that's Australian dollars, $19.97. So if you're joining from the US, it'll probably be about $15, maybe $14 a month. And we're only doing that though for the first month or two, just until, you know, we build ourselves up. And while we're doing that, we can offer that cheaper price for people that I don't think you'll be disappointed either. I don't think you'll be disappointed at all. It's pretty good value. And the way we've got it set up is pretty awesome, if I do say so myself. We've actually spent a lot of time getting this right. Ooh. Okay, so you might have just seen now, I just did some pink, and the pink had brown in it, and I wanted to get rid of that. So all I did was just got my Chucks cloth. And you can do the same with paper towel. Put a little bit of water on it and then just dab it straight onto your painting, and that will remove any paint that you don't want on there. So what I'm doing now is I'm just adding a little bit of detail to the pink ears here. Remembering that the light is on this side here, like the carrots. So I'm not going to have any of the dark color on that side. I'll have the lighter color on that side. And this one doesn't matter too much because it is folded over, so there would be a shadow anyways. Okay. It's back to my egg detail. Do some purple and orange. These can be any color you like. I think on my drawing, oh no, I did a purple and orange on my drawing too. So there you go. Must have been meant to be. Hello, Alan.
Hello, Debbie.
Can you do me a little favor?
Yes.
And just get me a tiny bit of black paint, because I forgot to add it to my thing here. Thank you. Okay, so I'm adding a bit of lightness to this side as well. And I'll do the same with the orange. Add a bit of white and light orange here. Okay, now Alan got me some black paint because I forgot to get it earlier. So now I'm just going to hopefully be able to do this without getting paint everywhere. I'm going to do the eyes and the face. So I just want my rounded eyes. And I can't talk through this because I need to focus. If the eyes are crazy, your painting looks crazy, in my opinion. So I'm trying not to get crazy eyes. All right, so want it about the same space and distance. And I always start my eyes smaller than what I need them, because if you go too big, that's it, done. And then I'm going to come back over here. I painted my nose brown because I didn't have black at that stage. So I'm going to come back over and paint the nose black because I just like the look of the black better. And I'm not really happy with the mouth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my white paint and I'm just going to paint over the mouth and the section that goes under the nose. And it's giving me a bit of a brown smudge because the paint wasn't totally dry yet, which is a bit of a bummer. But as soon as that's dry, I'm going to paint over it with white. And then I can put his mouth back in. But in the meantime, I'm going to get my white and I'm going to mix it with a little bit of brown. So I've got a really light brown color, a lot more white than brown because it comes through pretty dark, the browns. Okay, so I've got a really light brown here, and what I'm going to use that for is just to define the rabbit's hands and fingers and things like that. Okay, and I'm going to also just use this brown just to highlight different areas. And by doing this, it just shows that there's 2 feet here and here's where one stops and one starts. And also just gives a bit of color into the white. Plus, if I do this here, it's covering up the green that came through my white when I painted his arms on earlier. So it's a win-win. Now, when you're painting this, paint it however you like. Make sure you have fun. That's all that matters. It doesn't have to be the same style. It doesn't have to be the same color. I'm going to try and go over this mouth again with the white. Start blending. actually, I'm glad this happened while I'm doing this because, you know, some people, when you're teaching people to paint, think that one needed as a mistake, just give up. But the whole thing about painting is you can make mistakes. It's art. That like the whole thing with doing painting and creating is that it doesn't have to be perfect. And in our Create Happiness group, that is what we really focus on. You know, you can give up the perfection. You don't have to have everything right. And there's so much like beauty in the creativity of everyone. So all the paintings always come out different, and the community is really supportive. And when people actually post their work or when people show their work at events, I just love how everybody gets behind people and they go, you know, it's maybe not how I would have pictured it, but it's great in its own sense. And that's what I really love about art. And that's what I've always loved about art, to be honest. I've noticed at like paint parties, and you would have noticed this too, that you go with one picture and you might have 20 different people at that paint party. And at the end of the night, you've got like 20 different paintings, which is awesome. And you can say, oh, they're all similar themes, but at the same token, they're all different as well. Okay, I'm just darkening a few little bits and pieces here and there. Rightio, that's looking a bit better. I'm going to put my darker colours here on the eggs. Remember, we didn't have our real colours here. We just blocked in with whatever colour I had on the brush because I knew I'd be going over it at a later stage anyways. So we weren't fussy with what colours we were doing. White egg. We'll do a yellow egg. And we'll come back up to the flowers now. They're not, but enough. Now I've got the white background on the flowers, and I really liked just to have that white showing through. So I'm going to leave the white there as well, and I'm going to do the same technique that I did when I was putting the white down. I'm just putting yellow on my brush, and I'm just pressing my brush onto the paper, onto the canvas, should I say. And I'm letting my white show through on my flowers too. Oh, I've disappeared. No, there I am. Okay. And then what I like to do after that is just to go back in with a liner brush when I've got on my whites and yellows. Yellows and whites seem to be one of my favorites for flowers when I'm painting them. But in real life, I think my favorite flowers are tulip. What's your favorite flower? started raining again. I don't know if you can hear it, but it is pretty nice to have the rain, especially at nighttime when you're trying to sleep. Okay, so we got the basics for the flowers. I need my liner brush, and I'm just going to dip it into the bright pink. And while the paint's still wet, doesn't matter for this, I'm just going to do the middle dot on all the flowers. And then I don't have to really do anything with the flowers again after this. They're done. So I have the carrots done, the flowers done, the basket. I could probably add a bit more of a dark brown wash over this just to give it a bit of movement, well, a bit of going around. My rabbit, I want to add some white over that brown that I just put on there because I'm not happy with that color. It's okay, but it's okay, but it's not perfect. Which basically just works in with what I said a couple of minutes ago with, art doesn't have to be perfect, but sometimes we get stuck in our little things, don't we? All right, so let's give his bow tie some definition here. Too much paint. And I think I'll just give it a bit of an outline as well. Okay, so you'll notice up the top, I did give it a bit of a darker section here where it would be folded around. It does look a bit too long on that side, so I'm going to block this in a bit to make it look like the middle section is bigger, so it's a bit even. All right, and then on the bow tie, I want to add some dots as well, I think. So give him some polka dots. And you can add some lighter colors or some darker colors in there, whatever you like. Okay, next we're going to come down and give the side of his pants a bit of definition. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. Now you might have noticed how you brush, you get that better, finer. So the line was okay as it was, but by using the smaller brush, go. So he's looking forward to Easter. He's ready for it. I know I'm not yet, but I will be shortly. I will be. Especially with the grandkids coming up. Oh, I don't know if you can hear that, but the frogs have started. For this rain. Okay, so we really need to get back to the grass, and we need to get the grass done. And the other thing that we need to get done is the rabbit, finish the rabbit off. So I reckon that will be done within the next 15 minutes. We should be all good. So there's some spots on my rabbit that I just want to fix while I notice them. And that is just getting some white paint and going in here. And the reason I'm doing that is I can see their lead through the canvas, through the white. So I'm just covering that lead up, or the carbon up, as you may have it. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the face here. And the face that I've got for this one, you can see I've got the rounded eyes and the whiskers, and it's all in black. So I'm going to get a little bit of black, and it's still wet, but I'm going to give it a go anyways. I haven't left any room for my teeth. The teeth could go in there, but I think it'll be a bit low, so I'm just going to leave that. I don't want to go back over it with the white and fix it, because if I do that, what's going to happen is I'm just going to have a big grey mess. So with my eyes, I'm going to come up and lightly I get off this and on in Messenger. So give me probably about 15 minutes after this finishes, probably 15 to 30 minutes, I'd say, after this finishes. Oh, we're back. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I will, actually, I think we're flipped around, are we?
Yeah, you just swap sides.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Yeah, so I finish this and I'll get on and I'll send that through to your messenger. So look in Facebook Messenger for your tracer or your stencil. And this is not in focus anymore, I don't think. Actually, that's a little bit better. Okay, so let's carry on. The things that happen, hey? All right, so you can see the picture, you can see me, and back to it. Let's get this finished. So you can probably see under here the tracer. Oops, my paintbrush wasn't completely clean. A Chux wipe is fantastic to have next to you when you are painting. Either a Chux wipe or an old cloth or a bit of paper toweling, because after I use my dirty water to wash my paint off, then I dip it into my semi-clean water and then I wipe it on my Chux cloth or paper towel, and that just cleans it all off, which is nice because you don't get all the dirty colors all over your painting. Okay, so this has changed a little bit from the original painting because when I did my mouth the first time, if you missed it, I didn't like what it looked like. So I painted over it and did the mouth again. And then when I did it the second time, I did the section too long and I haven't left enough section down here for the teeth. But doesn't matter. I'm just not going to do teeth this time. If you want to do teeth, do it. If not, doesn't matter. This way you get a double version. I'm going to add a bit more pink here to bring it down since the mouth is now longer. It's a little bit of orange in that paint, but I don't think it matters too much, because that's just blending. That pink's blending with the whites because the paint's still wet on the face from when I went over the mouth. So just as long as it's got some pink there. Where are we up to? Gonna add some whiskers. I was going to do the whiskers white, but I've changed my mind and I'm going to do them black now. Do you notice when I'm focusing on something, I can't talk? Are you the same? Okay, so this is the tricky part. I've got to do the opposite side and I've got to get it looking so it's kind of similar. So as you can see, there's always one good side and one not so good side. I think you've been able to pick which is my not so good side just by the way I put those whiskers on. And I'm just going to put a whisker dot at the end here where it starts. Rabbits have whiskers, don't they? I'm not even sure now. I drew whiskers on it last night, but I don't know if they even look right. Oh well, they do now. Okay, so I'm tossing up whether to do a black outline around things. I'm just going to leave it for now, but I probably will come back because I do like to have my pictures pop out with outlines for some reason. All right, what I'm going to do now though is I'm going to get my fan brush. Looks like this. And I'm just going to put some green on it. And I'm going to wipe it on my chucks. And then I'm going to get some grass effects on here. It doesn't matter if you've got some dark green in there, but it does matter if you've got too much paint because the fan suddenly doesn't become a grass brush anymore. It just becomes a blob brush. So if you're going to use this brush, sometimes it is a pain as well, and sometimes it's easier just to use a flat brush like this, like that one, and make sure it's really dry, and then put your collar on it, get a bit of paper or something, and then take most of the color off, and then just dry brush it on without, I've got too much water on my brush at the moment, but we just want to give the effect of the grass here. And you notice at the beginning, I just slapped on the dark green and the light green and said I'll come back to that at the end. Well, that's now. And some places I'm going to add in strands of grass, especially around the bases of these carrots. And that will be with the dark green because I want to make it look like they're popping out of the ground. So they have to come from somewhere where there's a section that shows there's like a base to it. Oh, I just remembered I'm going to the movies today, 1:15. Yeah, it's 11 o'clock. Okay, so I've still got plenty of time. My husband's booked a date. So he's booked us into the cinemas to see Alan.
Sound.
Oh. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Alan's just rushed in and noticed that people can't hear me. So just let me know if you can. This one, I don't think. Can you hear me now? Just let me know in the comments if you can.
I can hear you.
Hear me. Oh, awesome. Great. Thank you. Thanks, Alana. Thanks, Anita. Okay, so what I was saying is my husband, Alan, who you've probably seen pop in and out a few times now, he's made a date for us. So he's booked us in to go and see a movie at the cinemas at 1:15 today. And it's been so long since I've been to the movies. Like, I can't even remember the last time I went to the movies, but apparently it's like called Titanium Class or something. I don't even know what it is, but he said something about one of his mates was telling him that there was like recliner chairs in the movie theater and it was super comfy and all that sort of section. Now Alan's booked that for us to go at 1:15 today, but I'm worried that he's going to miss the whole movie because he sits down or lays down, and if these chairs are super comfy, he's just going to go to sleep. So our date may actually turn into just me watching a movie by myself. Well, by myself with others in a little room with recliner chairs, which would be quite entertaining. I can't even remember what the movie's called. Has anyone seen anything decent lately? All I know is that it was, well, I had a look at the preview and it was like some sort of spaceship thing. And it looks like it crashes into Earth and then there's only boys or men and no women except for one who they find. I don't know. Does that ring any bells with anyone? Because I can't remember what it's called. Rightio. So I'm still getting my grass here and doing that with. All right, Al. Since you're listening at the moment, Al, what's that movie that you've booked us into? What's that called? Okay, so I've got my grass done and most of the eggs. Add some green in here. Rightio. So I'm looking at my watercolor painting from last night and looking at the acrylic version, and I have to say that I do like the watercolor version better at the moment. So because of that, I've decided I'm going to outline, and I normally do outlines on my paintings, but I was trying on this one not to because I wanted to try and get out of doing that. But I'm reverting back to my style that I like to do, and you can either leave it the way it was, or when you're doing it, if you're a bit like me, you need a bit of black and a bit of water, and then you're just going to go through and define things. It's funny how we get stuck in certain styles, hey? I just find I like things a lot better when I do this. Like after I've done it, I may not agree with that statement, but for now, I just feel like it's the right thing to do. I'm not going to go over everything, just bits and pieces here and there. And the trick to doing a black outline is like, I really like doing, oh, got some green in there. I really like doing something called a pen and wash, and it's mainly like you thin down the acrylic paints a lot and then paint with them like they're watercolors, and then at the end of it you get a marker, like a outline marker, and go over top with an outline, and it kind of gives the same effect as watercolor. And with the liner brush, you can see that I don't actually get really fussy. I just do the outlines here where I think they should go. And I am actually liking it a lot better. I wish. Yeah, no. All right, so this is a bit longer than you would normally go for, probably for this size. But I think due to some of the technical difficulties and also me changing my mind a few times, it's lasted a little bit longer than normal. I think you can probably hear that rain. It's pouring down again. And you're probably hearing cars going past too. Okay, what do you think? Do you like it better with the lines going around to define it, or did you prefer it when it was just the paint without the, oops, a bit too heavy there, without the black lines on it? And it's not going to hurt my feelings. Like, if you liked it better before I put black lines on it, trust me, it's not going to hurt my feelings at all. What do you prefer? Just going to block in the clouds, not blocking, sorry, just going to line the clouds and the hill, and then I'm just about done. And don't forget, if you're doing this for chip in a kit or anything like that, you can so it doesn't take this long. So right now I'm just going along, adding a bit where grass would be. And I'm just about finished. Bit more water. Put in some leaves. And you can do the same thing with white. It doesn't always just have to be black that you outline with, although that tends to be my go-to. And I'll just get some white and try not to touch the black too much, because if I do that, guess what? I'm going to have grey all over the place. And I could have done this with a light green up here in the carrots, but just for ease of what I have on my brush. And I'm just looking now where I want to add a little bit of highlight, and that's what I'm doing with the white. All right, I think that will do it. And thank you for watching. Remember, if you want the tracer, just put your name in the comments saying that you like it, and I'll send that through to you now. So there it is. Hope you enjoyed watching that. Use it. Feel free to use it for your kids' kits. If you want to do an in-person paint party and use it, feel free to use it for that as well. Or if you just want to enjoy it and do it at home, that's perfectly fine too. I'll send you the tracer. So all you need to do is just have your canvas, your paints, or whatever you want to paint on. Doesn't have to be canvas. Can be wood. Can be anything. Can be a glass. Alrighty. See you guys, and thanks for tuning in and watching me, and thanks for all your comments. See you later.